You're listening to the RMTV podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to episode 18 of the RMTV podcast. Geordie, Luke, how we going, lads?
Good, mate. Yourself?
Yeah, no, good, mate. You know, obviously Roosters, they got the win over the bye over the weekend, so that was...
I heard it was 20 plus as well, so that's even better.
Yeah, big flogging. So, but no, it was good round of footy, wasn't it, gents?
Some good games, that's for sure.
Some interesting games, some interesting decisions as well.
Yeah, so this ep, we will dive into the round 17 review, talk a bit of dribble from the past week that was, talk about the run home for the back end of the season, and then look ahead to round 18 for a preview. So let's dive in, lads. Penrith versus Bulldogs at CommBank. Now, it was a Penrith home game, but there were, I think, quite a lot of more Doggies fans there, weren't there?
Doesn't surprise you, really. Penrith fans haven't travelled this year, so why start now?
Yeah, but 8-0. Sorry, not 8-0, 8-6. Oh, what a game. I tell you what, Bulldogs had the opportunities, but Penrith just got home with that Cleary try at the end.
Hey, that was probably the game of the round.
Yeah.
And I was working Thursday night, and that first half I was watching it. Connor Tracy, man, he's something special.
I still, and I'm probably going to cop a lot of crap for this, I reckon the reason the Dogs lost is because they tried to bring Galvin on.
100%.
Yeah.
That's not a shot on Galvin, that's a shot on Serraldo. Mate, Reid Marnie was doing some good stuff at dummy half, probably one of his better games of the year. Then they forced Galvin into the game, you know, and you just see it. Like, everyone knows Burton's going to kick.
It
so
just
they
looks
went for
clunky. It looked clunky, and they were trying to force their hand a bit on that right side when I was watching it with Galvin coming down on the right. It was like he was forcing the pass to Stephen Crichton.
Yeah.
And I said this to my mate. I said the best player for Penrith was probably Stephen Crichton. I thought he had a bit of a shocker that night.
I think he tried to do too much because he had to do more. Like,
Yeah.
and this is the thing, like, when a lot of people were going, you know, Cleary's charge down was so great, and it was great because Cleary in his head's going, well, Galvin's on the field, he ain't kicking long, Burton's going to do it. Mate, it didn't even hit him in the hands. He literally came off his chest. That's how good a charge down it was. Like, man, it was just stupid from the Dogs, I think.
100%. And Penrith, they've copped a lot of criticism over the last couple months, but I think it's in their DNA. The winning's coming back. And we saw that with the way Talagi and Jenkins stepped up. Mate, Jenkins was good on the wing. And we clearly saw they're coming back. They're in the top 8 now.
McLean and Critter were having a little battle there, which I kind of love, though. It was just like, hey, I'm doing this job now that you used to do. Cop this. I did enjoy that a bit.
He had a cracker, but yeah, it hurts me. But I think Penrith, they're gonna make a nice run now. I feel it coming. You know, they were down there at 17th for a while, but I think they got a few tough games coming up. But yeah, just to get a gritty win over the Dogs, who are also premiership favourites, it's, you know, hopefully it's not another Penrith Storm grand final.
Nah, no way. I don't think they've got enough to get that far. They're getting the 8, but even that's going to be a stretch, I reckon.
So what do you think about Reid Marnie, mate? Obviously, he got pulled off. He'll be pissed off, don't you reckon, Luke?
100%. And I said from day one when they got Galvin, I said, it's going to be trouble. Going to be trouble in Belmore. And it has been ever since the King's birthday clash when he came off and he was pissed off.
Yeah.
We can clearly see it. And it's come at the wrong time of the year when the Dogs got to step up.
Yeah, exactly. No, and you're spot on there, man, because at the end of the day, you're breaking up a winning formula. Send him to New South Wales Cup if you want game time.
I've said it before. When you're coming first on the ladder, we're going to change your team lineup. They were doing so well all year. Like,
It's self-inflicted.
some Bulldogs fans I know, they say, it's like you got to trust the process. Serraldo knows what he's doing. But, mate, we've clearly seen. I reckon Penrith would have not won that game if they kept him off.
Yeah, 100%. But we'll move on now. We'll go to Seagulls and Tigers, 28-10 at Brookie. Now, I was watching this in a mate's place, and that first half had to be one of the worst first halves of footy I've ever watched in my life, mate. I think it was 0-0. I think there was about a minute to go, and then Manly got on the board. But, geez, mate, there must have been lube all over that football. They kept dropping it, I tell you.
I'll tell you,
one scrappy half. That was bad.
I was away for the weekend with some friends and we're just down in Culburra Beach, and me and one of my mates were having a couple of drinks, and I just remember sitting there going, I'm half cut and I could hold the ball better than they are right now. It was embarrassing for both teams. Like, there's no reason for it to be that bad.
Yeah, and you could see on the sideline, Benji, he was visibly frustrated, mate. He almost got the boots and just fucking got out there.
Mate, I think it would have been better if he did.
He would have done a better job. But even Seabold, man, like, he's been copping heaps and he was under pressure. This game, he needed that win. So the second half, Manly came out strong, and that was the best thing he needed done.
Yeah, and look, Turbo was in the centres. I think, I don't know if he loves playing in the centres. Obviously, he's a big fullback guy, but, he said at full time he was happy. If Manly are winning, he's happy. So
I think that's the team line, though, that you got to use. You got to do that. Oh, yeah, if we're winning, it's fine. But it's like, when he got asked about it, I think he was on 100% footy or something. You could just see there was like that. Yeah. I wasn't told. I've heard it the same way you have, and it's like there's a bit of disrespect to one of your superstars.
Yeah,
I like it though. Him playing next to Saab, as we've seen before, they've done some good set plays, and they did a couple on Friday night in the second half. So I like it personally.
Oh, it's a great idea. Like, you're unlocking Turbo and not having the risk of him injuring himself as much as you would at centre. Just the disrespect to not, give him the tap on the shoulder and go, hey, mate, this is what we want to do. This is the reason why. Like, this is what we're going to go for. It's a bit of respect.
Yeah. All right, well, let's move up to Nui now. They lost to Raiders 22-18. What do we think about this one, lads?
Mate, KO Weeks, he's killing it for Canberra at fullback.
Yeah, he's playing well, isn't he?
I'm loving it. I'm loving seeing Canberra get up every week. But, mate, one thing that's a worry, I know they got the win, but they were up 3 tries. They let Newcastle come back, and they did the exact same the week before against the Tigers. You can't let that stuff happen, especially come finals against good teams like Penrith and Melbourne.
100%. And especially, a Knights team that lost Ponga, has no Fletcher Sharp. Like, they should be struggling to score points, not doing it as easily as they did in the second half. So, I mean, I know Bradman Best has got that I'm about to be a new dad power sort of thing going on, but
with a big Best necklace.
Yeah, but mate, until the kid's born, he's not in dad mode, so they shouldn't be doing that so easily.
Yeah, and coming out of that game, obviously KP, injury to his foot, I've been led to believe.
Yeah. And
out of Origin, and Hammer's been put in at fullback, which we will get into, but yeah, I'll tell you what, I thought Reece Walsh was taking that spot every day of the week.
There was a lot of talk about Walsh doing it, but I agree with what Slater's done. I just wasn't sure on his choice for centre. That's the only thing, but we'll talk about that more. But yeah, I actually think he's made the right decision by not putting Walsh in.
Yeah, we'll find out. And Broncos, 26-12 against the Warriors. The Bronx keep rolling on, finding some form now, aren't they?
They are, and this game was probably typical of what you expect out of the Broncos. And credit to Reece Walsh. He showed up really well in some defensive areas.
Decent game.
Showed up some well in the offense, and you could tell he was playing for the Origin jersey. But Adam Reynolds, man, I've always admired Adam Reynolds. I hated the fact he played for South, but I can show my love for him now that he's playing for the Bronx. Man, he's good. I get he's held by duct tape at the moment, but far out, man. He controls that team so well. He's a real halfback, and I love watching him play. He's so good.
No, they looked really good, and there was a good crowd. All the Waz fans. Did you see down Caxton Street?
Yeah,
all the Waz fans going down the big
takeover.
March. Mate, I love that.
There was heaps, and I'm thinking, are they all from Brizzy or have a lot flown over?
There's a lot of Kiwis that live up in Brizzy. Even Magic Round, probably one of the most popular fan bases are the Waz.
I feel like everyone has their second team is the Waz as well, so it's kind of like it just naturally works well.
How can you hate him? But mate, one person I feel sorry for from the Waz, Luke Metcalf. As we saw, suspected ACL. Sean's got injured too. I think it was his ankle.
Yeah.
So he could be out for a while too.
Yeah.
It's sad to see because they've done so well this year, and now this hiccup.
I think, look, they're on a bit of a high, the Warriors. Now, they could slip out of the top 4 with those injuries.
They could, but I mean, they've got. I said that after Barnett went down, they'd struggle, and they kind of have. But to be fair, that's the first time this year they've lost 2 games in a row. Haven't done it until now. So if it's taking you to round 17 to do that, that's pretty impressive.
And they held in the battle. Like it wasn't just so easy. They held in, especially the first half. They were good.
Yeah.
I think the difference was the Broncos forward pack. They just stood up, and off the back of that, the Broncos backs, even now, like Shibasaki had a good game and earned his call up for the Maroons. So
Yeah, and also just 1%ers. They've done the 1%. It's like, like I said, Reece Walsh in defence, like he held up 2 tries. Like that's stuff that he normally doesn't do. And that's not having a shot. That's genuinely he normally just doesn't get across or anything. So credit to them. They put the effort in.
yeah, Madge will be one happy little boy.
They were another team, along with Penrith, like I said earlier, that got criticised like about a month or 2 ago. And now they're stepping up. They're coming out a different team.
Still hate them though.
Yeah. Ezra, as much as I hate to say it, he's turning up.
All right. Dragons versus Eels, 34-20 in the King Gutho Cup, some call it, down at the Gong. Yeah, wow, Dragons. Tell you what, Kyle Flanagan, he good response after a bit of a week that was for him and his family.
Credit to the Dragons. They came out. They played well.
And
And
I tipped him. I thought they'd get the win.
Look, I tipped Para. So when Josh Adokar went down the sideline to tie it up, I was cheering and then saw he stepped out and I was like, oh, you got to be kidding me. You got to be kidding me.
Do you boys think he was out, though?
Look,
It's a tough one.
the NRL have come out with their
his boot,
ultra
wasn't it?
microscope
Yeah.
and like just like that much of his boot was out. I watched the replay and I was like, I'm not angry that they said it was out. I actually am glad that the touchy went, you know what? I'm going to back myself here. Because a lot of the time we give the refs crap for not backing themselves. It was close enough that I'm happy for him to say he was out. Like, if he wasn't, it would have been like a bee's dick of a mill. So, happy to do that. And the Eels had their chances that they blew in the game anyway. But the Dragons at one point had no bench. You got a guy who played the last 15 minutes in Nathan Lawson with a fractured scapula. So, a Cooper Cronk injury from the 18 grand final.
Yeah.
Couldn't lift his arm playing on the wing and he's still catching the ball trying to run through and getting tackled. Like, credit to Nathan Lawson, man. Like, he would have been in so much pain.
Yeah. Well, one player that stood out for me, you guys want to pick this, Dylan Walker.
Yeah.
Have you realised, ever since he came from the Wars,
Bit of a
he's
shining
been
light,
like coming off the bench for Para, but every game he has done his job.
Yeah.
He's turned up and he got them back in the game. Now, if I was a Dragon supporter, I wouldn't be happy letting that come back. And same as a Para fan, like it was too late to come back. But
I'm having a bit of a late charge.
as soon as Dylan Walker got on that field, he's been doing it since he got to the Eels. Just turned up the game.
Do you think he's doing more than Dillbags?
100%. I think he is right now, and no one would ever pick that. If you asked me a month ago, I would laugh at it.
No, look, I think it was something that was commented on early when he first came to Para. Like, he just, especially when there's no Moses, he straightens them up really well in the middle. Because, let's be honest, Dill Brown's not doing his job. It's that simple. Like, he does
head in
bits
the
and
game,
pieces.
do you think?
I think his head's in the game, but I've said this about Brown for a while now. Without a good 7, he's useless. That's why he plays so well with Moses. All his good games this year have been when Moses plays. I just don't think that Brown has it to run a team, whereas Walker goes, nah, screw you. This is what we're going to do. Let's straighten up. Let's go back through the middle, then do everything off the back of that. And I think Walker's just had that influence on the team.
No, he's looking really good. And even Iongi at fullback, like every game just doesn't disappoint.
He's getting better and better every week. Like, it's so good to see a young guy that's just, got his chance. He's just like, nah, screw you guys. I'm going for it hard.
That's it. And one thing, people are giving it to Para, like they're coming third last on the ladder. But, mate, the way they've performed within the last month has been so much better. Like, I've never seen this sort of Para all year until recently.
You can see they're actually showing a bit of heart. They're fighting for everything. They're losing, but they're fighting. And that's what matters. If you fight, people will turn up to support you. And that's what you want.
Sweet. All right, now Dolphins Bunnies 50-28 up at Suncorp. Now this game, there was a doubleheader at Suncorp, but there was a few hours in between, so they managed to get about 70,000 through the gates there that day. And high scoring contest, lads.
Look, anytime Souths get 50 put on them, it's a great day.
Yeah,
It's just a great day. Can't win the comp now. To be honest, I was actually mostly the main disappointment I had out of this game is that the Dolphins leaked so many points. And it kind of had that feel where they went, "Oh, we're going to score more than you. Who cares? Go for gold." And to their credit, the Bunnies tried to take advantage, scored a few tries. still scoring 28 points. Just sucks that the opposition scored 50 on you. Sucked in.
Yeah.
Now they look good, and Hammer, he got 4 tries in his 100th game.
Yep.
So, mate, I think that's why he got the call up for the Maroons, to be honest.
Yeah, and I saw a stat by the random stats guy on Instagram. He had 66 tries in 100 games. Billy Slater had 66 tries in 100 games. So that was a fun little stat I saw. But, yeah, mate, Katoa, mate, he's becoming one of my favourite players. One of the highlights I saw of him, I think he stepped right, stepped left, and then turned back on the inside for Hammer. Mate,
Right.
he's going to be something one day, this kid.
That kid is the best natural number 7 I think the NRL seen at his age.
He just dances around.
But it's not even just that. Tedesco was on 100% footy and NRL Online and all that, and he was saying, he goes, half the time they rock up to training on a Monday morning for video session and just laugh about how good he was on the weekend, because the things he does, Joey Johns wasn't doing them until he's 28, 29.
Yeah.
Your Lockiers were barely doing them. Your Alfie Langers were struggling to do it. And, like, these are some of the best halves in the world. And as a 21-year-old, he's going, yeah, I'm just going to show you this kick, then look outside. But no, I'm going to chuck it back in the inside to Hammer and watch him go over. Like, the kid is incredible. He's been called into Blues camp as well, which will be awesome to see. Him get that experience. But, man, he's so good. He's so bloody good.
He's amazing, man. I've got to agree. But one thing I feel sorry about for the Dolphins, his partner in the halves, Nick Arima, he's out for 6 weeks.
Well, that's
Got
a big
found out
blow.
today he did his hammy, so it's sad to see that. Because they play along together in the halves, they kill it. They've been killing, and I think that's the 3rd time now they've put 50 points on the team this year.
Yeah.
Their point stiff will be looking.
Mate, it's as good as Melbourne.
I think Melbourne are on like 180 something, and Dolphins are on like 164.
Yeah.
Like that 4 games where they've now put over 200 points on in the last 5 games. It just boosted it. It's scary what they can do, to be honest.
I'm going to say now, I reckon they'll be in the playing finals.
I
think so.
have them playing finals. Yeah, our little ladder predictor has them playing finals. So
Yep, we'll get into that. All right, Melbourne Sharks. Now, this one was 30-6 at Amy Park. And I'll tell you what, it was 12-6 for a while there, and then Melbourne just turned it up a notch in about the last 20.
Yeah, no, that game started very close. Like, it was very close to begin with. And I predicted it at the start of the week because obviously we saw Fitzy called a special meeting for the team.
Yeah, right, yep.
Wrote about how the performance has been lately. But,
Might have to call another one.
yeah, I think definitely has to. But one player, Eli Katoa, what a gun, man. What a gun. The guy came from Tonga, came to New Zealand from Tonga, came from Tonga to New Zealand, played for the Wars for a bit, now in Melbourne. And till this day, I'll still say he's the best back row going around right now.
Oh, 100%. He's the best he is the number 1 back rower in the game at the moment.
Mate, a month ago, we were talking about Air Tubes.
Yeah.
Yesterday, there was Air Katoa.
But he's done that so many times this year as well. Like, it's just the leap he gets for a back row is just freaking incredible.
Mate, he's freaking amazing. The way he just jumped, got that ball. You wouldn't pick it from a back row
No.
like that. And it was good to see Folongo. He scored a full try.
He done
Full
now.
field try. He stepped up good, but it was sad, man, towards the end.
Yeah, that was
He's
bad.
out, I think, 8 weeks now.
Yeah, they're talking 8 to 12 weeks.
Yeah, so
Could
it's
be
sad
season
to
over.
see that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You could tell it was painful because he had to drop the ball. He was
Yeah.
just moving around in a lot of pain. But, yeah, Melbourne, mate, they're looking good.
Look, Credit to the Sharks, though, for hanging in for so long. But
Hey,
you could just tell it hit that point where they're like, we've got nothing left. Sorry.
they tried, and the Melbourne just kept, throwing everything at them. And I'll tell you what, some of the Melbourne boys, I'll give it to Mulatalo as well.
I think
Fair,
it
though.
was from the last game they
Yeah.
played. Pappenhausen was giving. I love
No,
that.
100%, mate. Mulatalo was talking so much smack to them at Shark Park. If you're going to get done 30-6, you deserve to cop that back.
No, yeah,
Plus, it's Mulatalo. Screw him.
it's good to see. But I think Bellamy's his heart rate went down a little bit in the back end of that game because he looked pretty stressed, old Bellyache.
I reckon that's a 5 out of 10 on the bellyache Richter scale in that change room. Next week, they're going to come out and score 50 just to prove a point.
Yeah. And the last game of the round, Cowboys 30 over the Titans 24. It's Seabus and Titans, they made a late charge for it, but it just wasn't enough.
Yeah, it was a bit of a messy game. I would say that's probably one of the shittest games of the round.
Yeah.
Shout out to Andy Raymond. A comment he made was, I don't know what's worse, watching the Titans Cowboys first half right now or hand picking my pubes. So that probably gives you an understanding of how crap that game was to start with anyway.
No, it's a bit messy, but Scott Drinkwater, we've seen him do it a couple of times this year, and he did it again last night. Got over the line for the boys and won them the game. So
Did you see that kick he did from the sideline?
yeah,
And he
and
kicked
they
the
were
ball
talking.
and it
Yeah.
floated forward.
Yes. His kicking is so weird.
Mm.
Like, I thought Asako was weird with how much draw he has on it, but Drinkwater's is just next level.
And in those weather conditions, like they got
Oh, it was
both
pissing
teams.
down, yeah.
Both teams got every conversion surprisingly, and lots of them were from the sideline.
They might have to be on standby for the Blues next Wednesday.
Yeah, the Titans, like, I know they're coming last, but they put in a good effort. Like, they were coming back. They scored like 2 tries in like 5 minutes.
Yeah, like Brimmer had a crack and like Tino and stuff. But,
They've got the ability. It's just they haven't put it together properly this year. That's what's hurt them.
all right.
The RMTV podcast is brought to you by FDS Eyewear. FDS Eyewear is your one-stop shop for quality, affordable eyewear. With the latest lens technology and weekly eye testing services, FDS Eyewear provides competitive rates over the larger optical retailers. Visit their store at Wentworthville Plaza, just a short drive from Parramatta.
Well, we'll move in now to Dribble of the Week. So we'll start off with Origin. Obviously, the teams have been called by Slater and Daly. We'll start with New South Wales. So 18th man, Karaz, another doggy. Birdo stays in for the Dogs, and Karaz being caught up for 18th man. What do you think about it, boys?
I don't mind it because it's coverage for To'o, and I said earlier this year that Karaz is probably very close to earning an Origin spot. And if To'o's knee is as bad as they're talking, he's out. Karaz is going to be a perfect replacement. And then I think from the sounds of it, Bradman Best will slide into 18th man. I think it's a great decision. Karaz, if Karaz gets that opportunity, genuinely deserves it. He's played so well this year. He's been probably one of the best wingers in the comp.
Do we think To'o's 100%? Because
Nah, there's no way he is. I genuinely think he's at 70% at the moment. You could just see it on Thursday night. He was struggling. The fact that, they've put Karaz in there as 18th man intentionally, I think is proving a point that there's something not right there. And I don't think that's a mind games either. I think that's a genuine, they're going to decide in the next couple of days whether To'o's out or not.
yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens, eh?
Yeah, I don't think he'll play if he is injured. I think he's all right.
You
I think he'll be all right.
You
And
reckon it's mind games?
the reason I say that
Could
is
be.
because Penrith are going good now, and he wouldn't be risking. I know it's game 3, but he wouldn't be risking one game when he's got like Penrith in the top
Penrith's
8
run
right
home.
now.
Yeah, he's not Moses for para.
Yeah. Well, it'll be interesting, if Cleary plays. He's been carrying his quad, but yeah, no, we'll see what happens. But we'll look at Queensland. So the Hammer, he's been named at fullback.
Great decision.
Thoughts, boys? I thought Reece Walsh was just. I think even Reece Walsh thought at full time for Bronx he was getting it, and then he's obviously on the extended bench.
I think Hammer deserves a fullback.
Yeah. Yeah.
Walsh hasn't performed this year. Like I know he's had his last 2-3 games has been good, but compared to Hammer, I think he deserves that spot.
Hammer's
any
been
day.
on fire, like every week scoring tries. He's going to bring that electric spark in attack, but his defense comes into question, I think.
That's the worry.
But I think that's why this is such a smart decision, right? You take him out of defending in the front line in centres, put him at fullback. You're actually kind of hiding his weakest attribute, which is his defence, right?
Yeah, that's true, yeah.
So you're putting Shibasaki in there who, okay defender, like he's not going to light the world on fire, but he's an okay defender. You get Hammer at the back, so you're going to get his spark in. You also got to remember, Reece Walsh dealing with a PCL. Man, a PCL at any time can blow on you and you are screwed, which means they've then got to carry a back on their bench, which is going to hurt them more than anything else. So I actually think it's probably one of Billy Slater's smartest decisions. Get Hammer back there, unlock his offense. You're taking away his defense, and then you're shoring up your defense at that center line.
Yeah.
So I actually really like it.
And then speaking of offense, obviously Shibasaki's been named at center.
Man
so,
can score a try.
Mate, I'm loving it. I think that's one of the best decisions.
Yeah.
One of the best things Billy Slater's done.
were you expecting him to get picked or?
Mate, not at
was it a bit of
all.
a
But
shock? Yeah.
this guy 3 years ago, Japanese rugby,
Yeah.
and then 2 years later, he played, I think, 3 NRL games all up with 2 different clubs. Who would have thought he would be picked for this team? But this year, he's had a crack over year.
No,
I think he scored like 15 tries already.
Yeah.
Or 12 tries in 15 matches.
Yeah, so it's funny. He scored 12 tries in 15 games this year, but coming into this year, he'd played 30 NRL games and scored 3 tries.
That's
Like,
it.
it's crazy to think that
He honestly deserves it, man. And I can't wait to see him. I think he'll do good for Queensland. Regardless of the result, I think he'll turn up.
No, I fully support that. I think it's a great surprise decision.
And we clearly saw that against the Broncos Wars game on Saturday.
Yeah.
There's 2 late tries. Mate, he's good.
I'll tell you what, if victory falls into Slater's lap, he's pulled off something here. And
No. If victory falls into Slater's laps, I'm going to pretend that I'm a Para fan just because Lomax let us down. Otherwise, the series would be bloody over already. It'd be 2-0 heading to Sydney.
looking at the sheets, I'm like, Blues 13+. I said that game too. But it's giving a bit of 2020 Queensland. You're looking at the sheet and you're thinking, who are these guys? And can they pull up another big upset?
Mate, they wouldn't be bringing Josh Papali'i back
True.
if they didn't think. How good is that? Our retirement.
Yeah, but you know the best part about that? If you're a Blues fan, right, Papali'i's going to pump up that. That bloke will struggle to play 40 minutes of Origin football.
Yeah,
He
20
barely-
at best.
Yeah, he's barely playing 40 minutes all up for Canberra at the moment in a game. So it's while I think the sentiment's nice from Billy, he could have brought DCE back for the same reason, but I actually think this is going to be partially a hindrance where you're basically going to have a bench spot taken up by a guy who's not going to offer you much in terms of time. Yeah, he offers a spiritual side and he'll probably pump him up a bit, but he's not going to give you 50, 60 minutes at Origin football. And I think that may be where it comes to hurt because let's be fair, Origin is about whoever breaks first through fatigue will lose that game. That's what Origin's about. And I think it's going to hurt Queensland because of it.
Yeah, we'll definitely touch on it more next week as we preview Game 3, the decider. So we'll talk about some signing news. So Selwyn Cobbo, the Broncos off to the Dolphins for next year, boys. Obviously, the Broncos, they pretty much said, look, you're not wanted. So Dolphins picked him up. Thoughts?
He's going to the Bears in 27.
Yeah, because it's only a 1-year contract.
He signed a 1-year deal with the Dolphins. He's going to the Bears in 27. I'm putting my money on it now.
I think it's very stupid of the Broncos for not re-signing him.
You reckon?
I think it's a very stupid decision. He's young. He's only like 23, 24.
Yeah, he's young, but
young.
I think he hasn't had his best year, but like he's got so much potential, and we've seen it before.
I don't think it's on-field is the reason the Broncos haven't signed him. I think it's off-field.
I did read an article, something about this.
Yeah,
He's
because
off-field.
he's had a lot of issues back at home, like where he lives. I can't remember the exact name of the area. He goes back there a lot to sort things out with his family, which is normal for, with his heritage and his culture. But I think that's part of the reason why the Broncos are kind of going, we're happy for you to go, because that seems to take away from his football. And yes, I get football's a privilege to play, but when you're getting paid nearly $1 million, you should be given a bit more than that. So I think that's maybe in the head of, and Shibasaki's standout year this year has probably helped make it easier for them to go, all right, let's move on from you. Appreciate it, but time for a change. Maybe it'll help Cobbo be better.
Cowboys will bring out the best of him, I reckon.
Dolphins.
Yeah.
Dolphins will bring out the best of him.
Nah, the Cowboys, what was it? The Cowboys pulled out on him. That's an interesting one. I wonder why. Unless it's the same things that the Broncos have sort of let him go for, because
Yeah, they
He
might
would've-
not want that.
he would have been good up there, I reckon.
I know you say that he'll go to the Bears, but I have a feeling if he has a big year next year at the Dolphins, I reckon they'll re-sign him for about
Might
on a
want to stay
3-year
in
deal.
Queensland, yeah.
I reckon, yeah.
And another Dolphin at the moment, Junior Tupou. So there's going to be 2 Tupes at the Chooks now. He's signed on for the Roosters effective immediately.
Yeah, so he's already come down. It has come at a cost. So Tyrese Tate is gone back up to Queensland. I believe he's going to be signing with the Dolphins. That should get announced soon. Ex-under-19s Queenslander. From what I've read and heard, he's a Queensland boy and there's some family things going on. He wanted to be closer to home, so might have been struggling just living so far away. So it has come at a bit of a cost. He's a young speedster, but Junior Tupou's nothing to shout at. Like, he's a pretty good winger. He does his job, can play around the back line, so good bit of depth.
And when's he start the Roosters? Like
This weekend, I think he's going to be at New South Wales Cup.
I'd like to see him. I'd like to see the Chooks give him a go in first grade.
Yes,
Give
yeah, against
Tupou a
Tigers.
rest. Give Tupes a rest. It's
bring
only
in
the
Tupou.
Tigers.
No, keep Tubes going. We need more games if he's going to hit 300.
Yeah.
He's getting closer, man.
What's he
Come
at
on.
now? Is he...
Oh, I think he's like 270s or
280s, is it?
I think it might be 270s because I think he hits 300 early to mid next year and can take over Jared's record mid to late next year. So I reckon just don't rest Tubes. Keep him going. Keep Daniel in there.
All right.
Senior Tubes.
Now, I think we'll dive into this one, boys. So I wrote a yarn on this at work yesterday. So former Titan and Storm, a bit of a controversial bloke, Kevin Proctor.
Loves a vape.
He was, yeah. In this Run It Straight challenge, it's called Run It, right? And he was up against his social media influencer, Jordan Simi, who used to be on the YKTR podcast back in the day. Anyway, so they ran it straight at each other over in Dubai. I don't know why they had it in Dubai, but
You can
Making
do it
money.
here, but you go all the way to Dubai for it.
He
Yeah.
probably made more money doing it over there. That's why.
so I think first place, like 200 grand, like there was a lot of money on the line.
Yeah, okay.
And yeah, pretty much Jordan Simi, he's never played NRL. He ran it at Proctor and bang. Proctor was on the floor. He looked like he was shaking a bit.
He looked fucked up.
It was his first one. I saw something that was the first time he did it.
Yeah.
Personally, I reckon it's stupid.
You reckon?
Remember a couple months ago there was something about
So
someone got like
Yeah, in New
they died?
Zealand.
They didn't die. Or
yeah,
they
in
died?
May, young kid in New Zealand, in down in Hamilton, he died doing it. Yeah, passed away and doing the Run It Straight. It wasn't like a competition like this. It was just in a backyard, but
Look, I get
things can happen from it.
Yeah, I get the appeal of it. You know, we all love that big collision in rugby league. That's one of the reasons why we watch it. But there's a bit of a difference between guys that are paid to do it and practice their tackling, their running each and every day versus social media influencer versus NRL player who hasn't played in the NRL for like 5 years. Like, it's just, I don't know, man. It's a bit stupid, like you guys said. It's stupidly dangerous as well.
It's dangerous because one, if you put your head the wrong way while going in for the tackle, the hit, whatever, mate, you could like end up paralyzed.
Yeah.
Or
It's
dead.
very stupid.
Or dead.
Or
Simple
dead
as
like that kid in New Zealand, yeah.
But yeah, no, like if it's a clean hit though, I'll give it to him. But yeah, I think leave it to the NRL.
Yeah.
To the footy field.
Yeah, just too risky.
Yeah. So all right, we'll talk about the run home now, lads. So as of the end of round 17, Canberra, they finally got their first place. They've been wanting.
Aiming for that minor premiership, first one in 35 years.
So Benny, he's done some work here. He's graphed up teams that can win an NFC, no fucking chance. Teams that have buys and a 50-50. So I see a lot of green in the top 8 here, and in the bottom a few 50-50s. What do you reckon, Jordan?
All right. So basically, to give you guys a background as well, what Benny's done here is he's worked out every team's average for and against. And so we've used that to calculate what games they should win, what games they probably won't win, NFCs, and what games that, you know, it could go either way. So, like, we've used that to then work out roughly what teams should finish on and what their ladder position will be to finish. So, to be honest, Canberra, Canterbury, Melbourne, that's our top 3. And it'll be Canberra first, Melbourne coming up to second, Canterbury slotting in at third. Not saying they're going to lose some games, but there's some 50-50s in there, whereas Melbourne really should go on a run for the rest of the year. We got the Warriors coming in fourth. Now, obviously, that might change a little bit. Luke Metcalf, we were talking about it before the show, but looking at the Warriors, right, they got the bye this weekend. Then they play Wests, which they should win. Like, that should be a comfortable one.
Yeah.
They then have Newcastle and Gold Coast, which are, you know, 50-50s. Dolphins and Canterbury, they're probably not going to beat. St. George and Titans again, which will be, you know, 50-50s. Should beat Para and then a 50-50 to finish up against Manly. So we've got them holding on to fourth at the moment. But, you know, there's probably going to be a bit of conjecture around that one because they're pretty... I mean, they have a plus of 11 for their for and against, so they're not in any great position by any means. But where it gets interesting, right, is Brisbane are 5th at the moment. By our mass, even though they should win most of their games, we actually think they're going to drop to 8th.
Yeah, I'm looking at that now.
So they have Canterbury this weekend, which is a 50-50 because, Canterbury are going to want revenge. They then go out and play Gold Coast. Should be an easy win. They have the bye. There's your guaranteed 2. They then have Para and South back to back, which should be wins. Melbourne, Melbourne's probably going to run over them at that time of year. 50-50 against the Dolphins. Newcastle Cowboys, they should win. And then finishes the year with Melbourne again. So we've put those 2 Melbournes down. So we've got Brisbane finishing in 8th. I don't know. What do you boys think about Brisbane? Do you see them dropping and staying in that 8, or where are you thinking? Where are you guys thinking?
I still think, they'll drop down for sure. And even against the Dolphins, I know you said it's like 50-50, but I think they'll be too strong. I think Dolphins will be too strong against them, and we've seen that in their recent performances. So I think they'll make the 8, like you said, but just 7th or 8th for sure.
I did my own little ladder predictor, actually.
Ooh.
And I've got Broncos finishing 4th.
4th?
I think they're going to find some form going into the back end of the year. I think they've picked up a few nice wins through Origin. I think Reece Walsh, I think he'll continue to perform well. And like Reynolds, he's aging like a fine wine, Reynolds. Like you said before, he's all strapped up. But they've got a few tough games in there. But if they could snag one against Melbourne, that could be a huge win, boost their confidence. Even like you could say the Brisbane Derby against Dolphins, pit them. But it's 50-50 for a lot of them because it could go either way. They could finish 4th or they could finish 8th because the top 8 is so close.
Well, it's funny you mentioned about Pippin 1 against Melbourne because looking at the Roosters' run home, their run home is West, St George, Cronulla.
Win.
Melbourne at Allianz. We've gone 50-50 on that.
If we can get the rub of the green that day, we win.
Yeah. Manly, Dolphins, Canterbury, Para, we've put down as can wins because theoretically we can. And to be fair, I still reckon we should have beat the Bulldogs earlier this year. It was errors that cost us.
And I think we should have beat Canberra as well.
Definitely.
We choked that
and
lead.
South.
Yep.
Then Melbourne in Melbourne, which anytime you go to Melbourne, it is a tough battle. And South to finish here at Allianz. Now, really, for every game for the Roosters, we've got them as winning, apart from the Melbourne games. But if we can jag one of those Melbourne games, I think that sort of stabilises us and goes, we're in the top 8. As long as we don't lose any of the other games stupidly, especially that next 3 weeks of West St George, Cronulla.
If we can win those games, especially those next 3, with Sam Walker coming back in a couple of weeks, if we go like as predicted, we can make the top 4.
Well, I think it works out that Walker would be back, probably due back the Cronulla game, but probably play New South Wales Cup. Potentially back for Melbourne, which could be a huge in.
Big game, yeah.
But if we split that Melbourne series and go 1-1, same as we did with Penrith and the Broncos this year, I think that's where it's going to be like an actual, okay, we can do this moment. But we've got them jumping up to 5th, so we don't have them going far. They're only jumping up 1 spot from where they are now, but that's if it goes to plan based on the maths. So this is all maths-based. Penrith are currently in 7th. Look, their run home is reasonably good, apart from 3 games against Melbourne, Canberra, and Canterbury, which, they're 50-50s.
Yeah, they're tough to finish off the year.
Yeah, well, their final game of the year is against St George, which I think will be probably a big win to get them into finals in terms of finals mode. But we got them finishing 6th this year based on the maths, which is still impressive. And then the Dolphins. We've got the Dolphins currently in 8th. We see them jumping up to 7th. They got 2 buys to come, which are huge.
Yeah, same as Canberra. That is huge.
Yeah, they got Cronulla, Cowboys, Warriors, which they should win. We've put down a loss against the Roosters, but obviously, with everything going on, they may get that. We've got them beating Brisbane, Manly, and the Gold Coast, and then losing to Canberra the last round.
I personally think Dolphins will make the top 4.
You reckon the Dolphins? Who do you reckon they knock out of the 4?
The Wars. If they can play without Nicarima the next few weeks, I reckon they're going to make the 4th.
I think that's probably what you said there is probably nailed it on the head. If they can play well without Nicarima, it's probably going to be a shout for them.
Yeah. No, I think, and like another thing, guys, the comps are unpredictable. Like, who knows what who knows what could happen? Titans might make the 8.
And they were saying on the Matty John show last night, the ladder, they've never seen it this close before, the for and against and the points. And with the way the Dolphins for and against is right now, mate, I think they'll slot in easy with a couple wins.
Well, funny you mentioned their for and against. I triple checked it. They're on 162. So they're pretty high. But funnily enough, there's only 3 teams who have a for and against above 100, which is Canberra, Melbourne, and the Dolphins. So it's not a huge thing for and against this year. But when you look at it, Gold Coast, who are coming last at the moment, they're on 12 points. They theoretically could still make the 8. Like, this is incredible that every team has a legitimate fight at finals at the moment. But the bottom 8 as it is, our math says that the bottom 8 will stay the bottom 8 for the rest of the year. So that'll be Manly, Cronulla, St. George, Cowboys, Newcastle, West, Para, South, Gold Coast. Manly and Cronulla are the 2 interesting ones, though. They're probably the closest to getting into the 8 from outside. And honestly, we don't see them winning many games on the way through. Manly, possibly win a game against South. Should get the win against West, St. George, and the Warriors. But beyond that, they've got Melbourne, Canterbury, Roosters, Canberra, Dolphins. Like, that's a horrible run home. Cronulla, they've got the bye this weekend, and they've got Dolphins, Roosters, South and Cowboys, St. George and Gold Coast, they should win. Get a bye, then they got Newcastle, Canterbury. So even their run home isn't that good unless they really kick their butt in a gear.
Yeah, I don't see Cronulla making the 8. I reckon they're going to drop out.
Look, to be honest, any team in the bottom 9 at the moment are going to struggle unless some results go their way and there's some major upsets, which we've seen a lot of this year. So you never know. It could happen, but it's going to be a tough run.
Yeah, 100%. And if there's any team that will make the 8 from that bottom 9, I think Manly's the only chance. And with their draw, it's hard, but like you said, if they
make a late charge,
make a couple favours like in their way, couple of wins, unexpected wins, then we'll see them in the 8.
But the fun part, the bottom 4, because, we always like to know who the losers are in Australia. We always celebrate the losers. That's why we have the spoon. Cowboys, currently sitting in 12th. We reckon they're going to drop down to 15th. Obviously, they've had some really crappy form, but how's this for your next 3 weeks? Melbourne, Canterbury, Dolphins.
Tell you what, if they didn't get that win against Titans,
If they didn't get that win against Titans, I think they're coming last.
Yeah.
And then they've got a few games that are 50-50 in there. St. George, Cronulla, Para, Newcastle, West. Then they play Brisbane, and then they get a bye last round. So they might be starting Mad Monday a week early. So that we've got them finishing in 15th.
And then we got Para.
No, West. West in 16th. I want to highlight West for a second because beginning of the year, do you guys remember all they're back, they're going to be great, they're back?
Yeah, I think everyone was thinking Dogs 2.0.
Yeah, it didn't happen, did it?
No.
I still say to this day, Benji's one of the boys, he's not a coach.
I think he's a good coach, but I think we're seeing now the past he's repeating himself. There was 2 blokes who played for West, really good players. You might have heard of them. Mitch Moses, James Tedesco.
Yep.
Let's just give them new names. Lockie Galvin, Talon De Silva.
Pretty much. It's deja vu, isn't it?
Yeah, it genuinely feels like a 2.0 situation. But how's this for West's run home? Roosters, Warriors, which we reckon they'll lose. Gold Coast, maybe. Penrith, Canterbury, no chance. Bye. Manly, Cowboys, depends on the day. Canberra, no chance. Gold Coast, depends on the day again. But as you alluded to,
a lot of 50-50s in there.
Yeah, and that's what a lot of these bottom 9 are 50-50s, but Para to get the spoon. You said it before, they've been playing some really good football, and I triple-checked the maths on this. Me and Benny both triple-checked it because I thought Gold Coast were locked in for the spoon.
Yeah.
But by the numbers, Para are going to get the spoon. They got the bye this weekend. Then they have a run home of Penrith, Canberra, Brisbane, Melbourne. All losses.
Would they get 1 win out of them?
I don't see them get... The only win I could see them getting is Penrith because they always show up for Penrith games. But I don't see them winning any of those 4. Maybe get a win against the Cowboys and South. Should lose to the Roosters. It's my birthday, so they have to lose.
I freaking hope they do. That's my rivalry.
Well, they better because that's my birthday. So if they don't lose, if Para don't lose that day, I'm going to write an angry letter. Then they got the Wars and Newcastle to finish the year, which are 50-50. So Sorry to you Para fans, they're going to get the spoon. But funnily enough,
Titans
gonna-
will jump up to 14.
Titans jump up
according
to
our predictions.
14th.
Wow.
Yeah. Now, the reason for that is they run home. They've got the bye this weekend. They then play Brisbane, which we think will be a loss. West and Wars, 50-50.
Yeah.
Penrith loss. Souths, 50-50. Cronulla loss. Warriors, 50-50. Dolphins loss. And then West again. So, it just... The way the Gold Coast have played, they haven't played well, but they're scoring enough points that they may be able to do it.
I think they'll be a bit like Para. Like, they're having a crack. It's just if they can just snag that W on the day, I think the spoon's going to either go to them or Para, I think.
Yeah, but, I mean, if you look at, like, our predicted points, you know, Cowboys will finish on 23, West and Para will finish on 22, South and Gold Coast will finish on 24. Like, this is going to be really congested at the bottom of the table. And it could be a similar thing to last year where it truly comes down to
A spoon bowl.
a spoon bowl, but for and against. Like, theoretically, you know, the last round of the year, you've got Newcastle and West playing, Newcastle and Para playing each other. You've got West and Gold Coast playing each other. 4 teams that could be vying for that spoon.
Oh, yeah.
And it genuinely could be like 2 spoon bowls going on at once.
Oh, there could be 3, like, you know. But it's gonna be a few poo slingers to finish off
But
at the bottom there. But yeah, I think we can all hope though that Souths they can get that spoon. Wouldn't that be lovely, boys?
Well, the best part is because of their for and against, they're coming second last right now. Para is better than them. So if they can't stop bleeding points, it's a legitimate possibility if we put a big score on them to finish the year.
And with the injuries they got too, I think Sullivan got today a knee injury.
Yeah, he got done in New South Wales Cup. But something I forgot to bring up when we were talking about the Dolphins South game. The funny thing is, like, all year South fans, we talk about all the injuries they have. And yeah, they've had a lot of injuries, so I respect that they've played so well through it. But that was their first choice backline going into the year, what they had on the weekend. And you saw flashes of them, you know, doing good things, but it wasn't that impressive. If that's your first choice backline, South, Wayne Bennett, you need to probably just fix up the old dust in the head because there's some things going wrong up there, brother.
Yeah, but shout out to Benny, mate, for putting that one together. And I think, we can all agree. I think Canberra, they'll get first place. 2 buys up their sleeve. They're looking good, the Green Machine.
And as long as they don't keep blowing leads.
The RMTV podcast is brought to you by The Legal Problem Solver. The team brings over 25 years of experience in wills, probate, estates, conveyancing, property and commercial law. Connect with The Legal Problem Solver on LinkedIn, Facebook and Instagram.
Yep, that's it. All right, let's move in now to round 18 of the NRL. The round just before Origin 3. So a few players will be out for their respective teams. Doggies versus the Broncos. $1.48 to $2.66. Ooh. Gonna go the Doggies here, boys. I think I'm gonna back the Dogs here. Gonna go 1 to 12. What are you boys thinking?
I'm tipping the Doggies, and the only reason why is because Reece Walsh, obviously, he's been named 18th man. Big loss for the Broncos, so it'll be a close game, though. Like, Doggies have a lot of players out, too.
I think they want to get a win after that tight one against the Riff.
I think as well they'll be thinking a lot about that game up at Brisbane that they let get out. So I think that's going to be the big instigator behind getting them up. So I've gone Doggies, but I'm thinking it's going to be like a 4-point game, to be honest.
All right, and the Green Machine, Canberra up against the Dragons, $1.28 to $3.73. Oh,
I'll step in here.
I'm going to go the Dragons.
What?
I'm going to tip the Dragons.
Are you on drugs?
No, I'm not. I'm going to tip the Dragons, actually. I think Canberra's due for a win. Oh, sorry, due for a loss.
You reckon that Dragons team can beat the Raiders?
I think a little bit of confidence off that game against Para, and I think it's going to be the upset of the round, boys. You'll laugh me out, but
Even with no Val Holmes.
yeah, Val Holmes is washed, mate.
But also all the injuries the Dolphins. Mate, honestly, I like this confidence.
It's
but
just going to be
geez.
a few young flares in the Saints, and I think they're going to pick a win.
Yeah, I'm
just throwing it out there. Look, Raiders could win. They could flog them, but I'm going to tip the Dragons.
I'm going Raiders 13 plus.
I'm going Raiders 40 plus.
Oh,
They are going to expose Flanagan.
we're gonna have another team hit 50 this year.
And all right, well, Cowboys $3.70, another big outsider to Storm $1.28.
Yeah, no Dearden, no Robson, no Cowboys. Oh, and no Cotter. Sorry, no Cowboys. Storm 20 plus.
Yeah.
They got a couple players out too in Melbourne, but
They'll still have
They
Pappy
still got
there.
Paps and Katoa.
Especially though, but being up there in North Queensland, it's going to be hard. It's going to be a dry, fast track. That's going to play to the Storm so well.
Yeah, so we're all going to agree.
Storm 13+. Unless you want to go with another upset.
Yeah, you
No,
reckon the Cowboys can win by a field goal?
I'll only go the one. Upset this round.
And he can't go para this week because they're not playing.
No. And
Boy.
Chookies at home, 2 p.m. Sunday Highway. That'll be a good one. Hopefully the sun comes out that day because it's meant to be a big round of rain this week for Sydney. So media's calling it a bomb cyclone meant to hit.
Yeah, isn't it meant to hit like tomorrow or something, or
Yeah.
Wednesday?
on Tuesday to Wednesday?
They said midnight tonight.
Yeah,
Oh, I better get home then.
So yeah, Chooks $1.21, Tigers $4.45. Lads, Chooks to hit 50.
I actually think I would think 40, but yeah, I think 50's in reach because it's going to be the young guys stepping up again. And when our young guys play, look at the 2 games we played before Origin, and our young guys stepped up hard. So I can see it happening.
I'm going Roosters 1-12.
Ooh.
Oh, you reckon the Tigers are actually going to show up?
I know Tigers, mate. Coruscant's
Is this
out.
because you're not going to hit your drum KPIs or?
Oh, he will. I'll make him hit his jump
Yeah.
KPIs,
my
and he
hand's
knows
still
it.
stuff from 2 weeks ago.
That's your fault. Get better.
But no, I think it'll be close. Roosters, this is their 3rd game, obviously, without Origin players. They haven't got the bye once, and I think they'll turn up, they'll win, but it'll be closer than most people expect.
One of those like sluggish, close games, you reckon?
Yeah, and if
Yeah.
Klein's reffing, then yeah, fuck off.
Well, I'm hoping, fingers crossed, Klein can go to Four Pines and do the Eagles and Bunnies game for once. Leave us alone.
Actually, I don't think he'll be reffing on Sunday because Origin on Wednesday.
He's
Probably.
he's reffed Sundays, both Sunday games after Origin this year. So
Before Origin.
yeah, actually, yeah,
Yeah.
good point. He might get one. Sweet, he can go screw up the Doggies and Donkeys game. Let
And
him
that-
stuff them up.
And the game to finish off the round, Eagles versus Bunnies, $1.34 for the Eagles, and Bunnies $3.30, boys. What are we thinking?
No Walker, no Latrell. I think it's tough for the Bunnies to get anything going. Whiten will do his best, but I think Manly are going to just get up there. I think that 1-12, something close, but I think Manly are going to get up.
I think it'll be a close first half, but second half Manly will go bang bang 13+.
Yeah, I'm gonna back 13 plus as well. I think Turbo might actually score a try this week. So,
Actually show up and care.
and the NRLW kicks off round 1 for this week, and Warriors are back in the comp now.
Yep.
Doggies are making their debut, and yeah, so Sharks Eels to kick it off. Sharks $1.50, Para $2.60. I'll go Cronulla, and I think Dogs here they're $2.35 on debut, club debut against Nui $1.60. I'm gonna go Dogs for the upset.
Just start their career off well, yeah.
I think so. And what do you think, Lukey? Broncos $1.12, they're premiership favourites up against $6.50 Tigers.
Yeah, the odds say it all. I think Broncos will get the win easy.
Yeah.
I think it'll be a big score, something like a 60-4 or something.
Look, to be honest, wouldn't surprise me because the Tigers were wooden spooners last year for a reason. So
And
I
they're
think you're onto something.
favourites to go to this year.
Yeah.
And Canberra Dragons, $1.54 to $2.50. So that'll be the same game as the men's. Would this be a double header maybe?
I think it will be, yeah, because the Sharks Eels game's on Thursday night. So, and I know the Doggies Knights game is before the Doggies Donkeys game. So I'd say they'd probably be on.
You gonna go a Dragons upset as well for the women's?
Mate, if they play if Canberra play like the men's, if the women's team play like the men's, I think they'll get the win easy.
I'll go the Dragons upset.
I'm going Raiders. They're a good team, so got to give them their raps.
Yeah, I'll probably eat my words next week. And to finish off the NRLW round, Cowboys $2.35 to the Titans $1.60.
Jamie Chapman, best center in the game. Well, probably top 3. There's 2 girls I put in front of her, but yeah, I think the Titans will get up there, man. It's just they're a good team. They are a very good team, and probably going to push a bit harder than people think for a premiership this year. So,
And Jamie Chapman, she is now single.
it is rumored that she's single.
There's
so
rumours going her and the Hammer have split.
if that's true, I'm telling you now, put some money on her for at least a double. It's
Yep.
always the way, right? It's like Hammer scores 4 after a breakup. She's got to score at least 2.
Yeah, no, I'll back it. I'll chuck that little multi. And tell you what, chucking a multi. Roosters, $1.15 over the wires, $5.50. Yeah, I'm thinking Roosters a big score here, maybe by 40.
Don't you feel sorry for them though? The Wars, they're they're a new
They're
team
coming
this
back.
year.
Yeah.
New team, and they're playing the Roosters premiership favourites.
I mean, they're not so much a new team because a lot of them played previously in the NRLW. If you look at their lineup, they've got a couple of young ones, but they've all been playing rugby league still in New Zealand. So I actually think it's going to be closer than people realise. The Roosters, I think, should get the win, but I genuinely think it's going to be a very tight game. I'm going to go watch it because obviously with the AFL on this weekend at the same time, I'm going to go watch it. I reckon it could be a cracker.
Yeah, no, sweet. Beautiful, lads. And Geordie, mate, want a quick shout out for our beautiful pergola that we're giving away, mate?
Our lovely pergola. So, guys, Origin 3 means Wally Lewis medal. So, jump on our socials. You'll see a post up there. Comment who you think's going to win the Wally Lewis. You've got up until the full-time whistle of Game 3 to do it. It's a great gift given to us by our friends at the Legal Problem Solver. So, please get on there, support that. And, hey, you never know. You could win. But make sure you are in the Sydney, Greater Western Sydney, Central Coast or Newcastle region only. Unfortunately, if you're outside that, we just can't get it to you. So put your predictions in there if you want, but that will, make it impossible for us to get it to you.
Yeah, mate. Well said, Geordie. So, guys, thank you very much for tuning in to episode 18 of the RMTV podcast. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe from all of us here. It's goodbye.
Night, guys.
Night.